Hi everybody. Well, I am almost done my Panama Canal cruise. We have 3 sea days and 1 port day left before we get off in LA. And I just wanted to tell you some stories from the ship of passengers on board and some of the things that have happened that might make you appreciate service on cruise ships even more. So, the Island Princess has been mothballed basically for 2 years and this is her first sailing back. So the crew members are learning their stride, right? They gotta get into rhythm for dining. They'll probably be a little slow at the beginning. There'll be pick up speed as you go along. Same thing with the specialty restaurants and all the little things that's gotta go on. The shops, the internet systems, the entertainment on board. The systems on the ship, are they working up to standard? Because remember, every single room hasn't had a passenger in it, and you can come in and you can, with an empty room, you can come in and, oh yeah, the air conditioner feels fine in here, but once people start getting on board and the heat from people start moving around in the cabins, it can become warm. So a lot of things were not ready when we got on the ship, but they've been being fixed as we've been going along. And I wanted to tell you some of the stories of the service. For instance, our friends Tony and Jenny, they were in the cabin beside me. And their cabin, mine is not super cold, but it's tolerable. It's comfortable. It's not hot, it's not cold, it's right in the middle. So I'm quite comfortable in here. But their room was hot, like very, very hot. So what did they do? They upped and they moved them to another cabin right away. As soon as they came in and said, yeah, we can't fix this right away, boom, gone, moved them to another room. The other day, people on the group said, yeah, they woke up around 2 in the morning and their room was suddenly hot. Their air conditioning was working fine. Suddenly it wasn't working anymore. It was like scalding hot in their room, like as if somebody turned the heater on. They called down to guest services. Guest services said, hey, do you mind if we send somebody up to your room right now? They said, well, no, we'd really like to get this fixed. Engineer and the hotel director came up and they took a quick look at it and said, you know what, we're going to need to work on this a little bit. Would you be okay if we just moved you down to another room that's ready, it's clean, it's everything, just down the hall. The air conditioning's working in there while we work on this. And so they grabbed some stuff and they moved them at 3 o'clock in the morning to a new room that the air conditioning was working. They went to sleep, woke up 3 hours later, went back to their room, and the air conditioner was fixed and they were all set to go back into their room, and they haven't had any problems since. That's pretty darn good, sir. 3 in the morning, they're answering guest services calls and fixing air conditioners and helping passengers move around. And they're not the only ones who've had issues with the air conditioning and that, but it's been fixed. So that's been good. An example of some things in the dining that's been going on. We were at one of the restaurants, and this ship is a little different. It doesn't have the International Cafe, and I did not realize that because I had never been on this ship. That the Royal class has and things like that, which is great because you go there for your coffees and you have sometimes there's snacks and everything during the day, and sometimes you even get smoothies and that made. Well, my niece Angelina wanted a smoothie, and she talked to one of the wait staffs, who then talked to one of the chefs and said, tell you what, when you come back tomorrow, we'll have a smoothie here waiting for you. And it was. The smoothie was sitting there waiting for her when she got back. We were at specialty dining the other night, and somebody wanted a coffee, like a espresso or a latte, and they didn't have one there. They sent somebody from the specialty restaurant over to the coffee house to pick up the coffee, bring it back. When they came back, it was like a little bitter. It wasn't as sweet as the person wanted. And they said, oh, there's this syrup that they sometimes pour in it. Back the person went, got the syrup, came back, poured it in the coffee. other restaurant, other deck of the ship. They went to make sure the customer was happy. That's pretty darn good service. You can't ask for much more than that. People also at the specialty restaurant couldn't finish the food. They thought the servings would be like in the main restaurant, which are slightly smaller. But when you go to a specialty restaurant, the servings are normally quite large. Well, at least they are on Princess. And yeah, they couldn't finish their meal. They ordered 2 entrees and couldn't finish the first entree, and they had the whole plate of the second one there. What do? Well, they don't take doggy bags out of a specialty restaurant. You can't do that. But what they can do is they can package it up, send it to room service, and have it delivered to your room later on that night when you're back in your room. And that's what they did. How much more attention to detail and service can you have? I mean, they have been pretty amazing on this ship. Anything that we've asked for, anything that we've needed, they've tried to accommodate. And a perfect example of this was the chef's table. They only have a certain amount of chef's table during this cruise, and I tried to get 2 tables, and I could not get 2 tables. And the chef's table holds 12 people for the chef's table. And which means if myself and Angelina are going, because we're hosting it, that means there's only 10 spots. Well, we had 23 people sign up for the chef's table. How do I choose who's going to go? Now, we weren't able to get all 23 people, but we ended up with 19. They set up another table nearby. So we ended up having 2 chef's tables on the same night, which meant the chef had to make another 7 dishes of each menu to accommodate just us. Which means they had to bring on more wait staff, more cooking staff, because it's a big production, right? When they're making that many meals, and everything came hot, piping hot. So they went out of their way to accommodate our group to get people going. And I felt really bad. There's 2 couples that did not get to go. And I didn't get to choose who was going. It was kind of decided on, well, this is the easiest way to do it. It's just, how do I, I don't want to go say, well, you can't go and you can't. I'm not going to do that. So I had to wait, the maitre d' and that to do it. But then he said, you know what we're going to do? For those people who didn't get to go, we're going to send them to specialty dining on Princess. So they either get to go to the steakhouse where I ate last night, which was delicious, or they get to go to Sabatini's, which I'm hearing nothing but good things about, on Princess, just as a complimentary, sorry you weren't able to get into this chef's table. At least with our group. They were able to try and sign up for other chef's tables and maybe get on that. But we were only allowed to have the 1 night for the dining, which I thought was perfectly reasonable because, we're a small portion of the amount of people on this cruise, and we shouldn't take up half the chef's tables just because we're on board. And I was very happy with that. But I mean, again, going out of their way to help out. It's like I said, I might have 12 people, and then it turned into 14, and then I said, can we get 16? And then I said, can I get 17? And it went up to 19, and then it went up to 23. It just kept growing and growing and growing, and I cannot say enough about the Island Princess staff on board. They've been wonderful, absolutely wonderful, and helping me out in every situation, even when the dining wasn't organized ahead of time like it was supposed to be. By the second night, it was pretty much solved, and Daniel, the head maitre d', literally just took it upon himself to fix the issue and get it done. And I have to thank him personally, and I have many times. And he's even helping me with the next group on the Island Princess to make sure it's all arranged ahead of time. So yeah, talk about service. I think the Island Princess crew deserve all the credit in the world. And so if you're going on the Island Princess anytime soon, that's the kind of service you can expect, because it's not just me. Those other stories are from other people. And so it's not, well, Don has a YouTube channel, he's getting special treatment. No. And you know what? I found this many, many times on cruise lines. You ask, and they will try and go out of their way. And usually the smaller the ship, the more they try and do it. The large ships are just, sometimes it's just impossible. There's like 7,000 people on board. But when you have 2,000 or less, it makes it easier to do the personal service, which is another perk of perhaps sailing a little bit on the smaller ships. So yeah, all I can say is thank you, crew members, particularly Daniel, on the Island Princess.